Good afternoon. My name is Bud Mortensen. I'm the Director of University Relations, and I'm pleased to welcome you to our Celebrate Research Week 2015 awards ceremony. We have a program of about 45 minutes today, and that will include award presentations, some video vignettes that we'll enjoy, profiling a few of our featured researchers, both faculty and students. But before that, I'd like to take a moment to especially welcome and recognize some of the special guests that have indicated they join us today. Shannon Dunn from the UBC Board of Governors. Where's Shannon? And Ron Cannon, a Member of Parliament for Kelowna Lake Country, is here with us. Thanks for joining us, Ron. As well as the hosts for today's award ceremonies, Dr. Cynthia Matheson, Provost and Vice Principal Academic, and Dr. Gord Binstead, Acting Vice Principal Research and Innovation. And of course, deans, members of the Executive Committee, and each of our faculty and student researchers are here with us today. Thank you for joining us. The ceremony this afternoon marks the end of Celebrate Research Week for this year, and we've seen a lot of activity over the past 5 days. They included Monday's talk downtown with Dr. Patrick McGeer at the Rotary Centre for the Arts, and I understand about 200 people were in attendance for that event. We saw the launch of the new interactive online map. MORE is the acronym for Mapping Okanagan Research Engagement. On Tuesday and Wednesday, we saw more than 300 students from throughout School District 23 here on campus for the Central Okanagan School District Science Fair. And we want to thank the Faculty of Education for their support in that, and all of the other people that were involved in working with the young students while they were on our campus. We had graduate students challenged to condense their research into 3-minute thesis talks on Wednesday afternoon, and we'll celebrate the winners of that 3-minute thesis competition here today. On Thursday, we had sessions on public policy, field experimental research methods, and a public panel on chronic pain. And throughout the week, the Faculty of Creative and Critical Studies had presentations during the lunch hours all week long with faculty presenting their research. So it was an eventful week. Thank you very much to everyone that was involved in organizing events and those that attended the events. It was a great time. So at this point, I would like to call upon Professor Deborah Buzzard, our Deputy Vice Chancellor and Principal, to say a few words.
Thank you, Bud, and it's great to see everybody here. It's always a wonderful event. It's one of the highlights of our year. Before I start with my short but slightly formal remarks, I want to add to Bud's comment about seeing the School District 23 and 300 young, enthusiastic future scientists and researchers and social scientists. They were wonderful. I took some time out of my day to go and actually have a look at what they were doing, and it really was inspirational. I, on that particular day, was meeting in the afternoon with a representative of a large multinational corporation which is actually interested in partnering with us in research. Now, I doubt that I could have said that about this campus 5 years ago, but sure enough, there I was, and Gordon was joining me by video, but he wasn't able to see what our guest and I were seeing, which was a rather remarkable sight when 300 very differently dressed young people suddenly walked up the stairs outside my office, the ones that run up to the library, and they were all making their way over here, I believe, for their awards ceremony. But the thing was, they were sort of, disreputable teens, basically, carrying what our visitor took to be placards. And he thought we were having a campus demonstration. And I was able to reassure him, no, these were actually school students and not our own. So, more seriously, Research Week has been, this year, I think, remarkable. Events off campus, events on campus, the community and all of those parents coming on campus. We know that research is at the heart of what we are as UBC. And of course, it's an important part of the quality of education that we offer our students, from their being taught by professors who are active scholars themselves, and also by the opportunities that we provide in a very special way to have really hands-on experience, often with professors, sometimes internationally, working on real projects, perhaps out in the community. And it helps us really be the kind of institution that we do aspire to be. It also helps us help our community. And many of the things that we're doing here today really are growing out of strong community engagement. And in fact, in Canada, we are the campus which has the most NSERC Engage grants. It's just one indicator of the kind of community impact that UBC has here in the Okanagan. We have a lot to celebrate this year. This year, our research funding to the university campus here topped $18.5 million. That's 3 times what it was a decade ago. And in a time over the last 3 or 4 years when federal funding of research has actually been flat, that increase is truly remarkable. So a huge shout out to the active scholars, many of you are in this room, who are actually making that happen. Thank you. It's super. To capture some of the research taking place on campus and the enthusiasm for this research, we have a short video, and I'd like us to take a look, if we can, at what I believe is called Research Imagined.
Imagine a world without the curious, without the visionaries, without the inquisitive. Imagine a world where questions are never answered because they are not asked, and solutions are seldom found because they are rarely sought. This would be a world without research. It all starts with a question, a problem, a challenge. It's not about thinking outside the box. It's about redefining, reinventing, and removing the boundaries altogether. It's writing, it's building, it's translating, discovering, creating, and uncovering. It all starts with imagining. Imagining the possibilities, encouraging investigation, rethinking, redesigning, interpreting, and reconfiguring. This is the world of academic research. We are cohorts of knowledge brokers working together using our skills and disciplines to dig deeper, to see more clearly, to move more efficiently, to become safer, healthier, stronger, and bolder. Research Imagined is the now. It's the not yet. It's the soon to be. It is the present, using skills from the past to answer questions for our future. It's what UBC Okanagan is built upon. Insatiable ambition that delivers us to new heights, overcoming all barriers to grow an audacious appetite for exploration, for invention, and for progress. Creating the solutions to issues that affect our daily lives, our communities, and our world.
A special thank you to Rosemary Thompson here in the front row and her team for the wonderful work the group in the Media Centre have done to produce that video and many others that we use to showcase our campus and our community around the world. So thank you. I'd also like just to say, as I'm wrapping up my part of the remarks here, but a huge thank you to everybody who's volunteered and made this last week of events possible. So many have been involved, whether it was with the science fair or outside off campus or just back behind the scenes, making sure that the websites were right and that kind of thing. Thank you. As Bud has just said, among the highlights of Celebrate Research Week was Wednesday's 3-minute thesis competition. To tell us more about that event and to introduce the winner of the competition, it's my pleasure now to call upon Miriam Grant, Dean of Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies. Miriam.
Thank you, Dr. President. The 3-minute thesis is a high-energy competition designed to foster effective presentation and communication skills for grad students. Participants have just 3 minutes to explain the breadth and the significance of their research project to a non-specialist audience. The 3MT competition was started in 2008 at the University of Queensland and is now held at 170 universities in more than 18 countries around the world. UBC was one of the first universities in North America to host a 3MT competition, with the inaugural 3MT at our satellite campus in Vancouver in 2011. Is this being taped out? This is the second year of 3MT on our campus, and the College of Grad Studies is very pleased to host this wonderful event. Our winner will go on to compete with winners from 17 other universities at the Western Regional 3MT competition hosted by Thompson Rivers University in Kamloops on April 30th. Let's take a look at some of the 3MT highlights from the qualifying rounds over the past few weeks.
My name is Catherine Sturrock, and I'm a graduate student studying human-animal bonding.
So in the same way we can evaluate a student's performance, we can evaluate a hydraulic fracturing fluid.
Diet alters your microbes, and these microbes, in turn, affect your immune system.
Now my research is to apply a novel and new design to the mechanical heart valve.
Specifically, I've been studying the receptors that TFAM binds to on microglia to activate them.
With specific and targeted diet and physical activity, we can reduce the burden of type 2 diabetes.
Those patches will build up on each other and eventually make the muscle fiber larger.
Knowledge is not pre-built to be delivered, but it is constructed by the learner.
What we need is to improve our understanding of the contextual influences and institutional framings of environmental decisions and the processes that help shape these outcomes.
Our goal? Create a lifestyle change that's not just a New Year's resolution, but that lasts for years to come. Thank you.
And moving on majestically to the Western Regional 3-minute thesis competition.
So I want to congratulate all the grad students who participated in 3MT this year. Your presentations have been a showcase of the outstanding and fascinating UBC research on our campus. So Wednesday, we enjoyed presentations by finalists, and one student's 3-minute thesis was chosen as the best of the best. Please join me in congratulating the winner of our second 3MT competition, Carrie Simpson. Carrie is a Master of Science student in Interdisciplinary Studies, and her supervisor is Dr. Jen Jacoby. The topic of Carrie's presentation was Stretching the Limits of Muscle Growth, a New Route to Hypertrophy. To learn more about Carrie's research, we're going to show the winning 3-minute thesis in its entirety.
Moving on majestically to the Western Regional 3-minute thesis competition as our winner today, Carrie Simpson.
Muscle growth is commonly referred to as muscle hypertrophy, and it's the goal of many an athlete, average Joe, and older adults. As a society, we are increasingly obsessed with new and innovative ways to make our muscles larger and stronger, be it for performance, functional strength in aging, or just to pick heavy things up and put them back down again in the gym. Muscles grow when they're subjected to a repetitive load, and if that load is large enough, over time, the muscle fibers will tear. Now, this is totally normal and what we want because it'll stimulate the immune system to bring resources to that area and create a patch on the tear. Those patches will build up on each other and eventually make the muscle fiber larger. Because the muscle fiber makes up the muscle itself, the muscle then gets larger as well. Now this makes sense if you're thinking about strength training or maybe sprinting, but doesn't make sense when you're thinking about stretching. When I say stretching, most people's first thought goes to a yoga room with a nice lady asking you to bend forward and touch your toes. It's not really taking you to bulging biceps and big giant calves, but maybe it should. If you look at my slide and you can get past the beautifully muscular Charles Atlas, the muscular Bruce Lee, and the wonderfully muscular Tony Horton, you're gonna see a nice set of calves up there. And maybe those calves got your inner voice to wondering, just how does one get calves like that? And secondly, hey, is that guy's left calf bigger than his right calf? Well, I'm glad you asked. This subject and the other 10 that were part of my thesis protocol were subjected to a stretch 5 times a week for 6 weeks. We did this by placing their foot on a leg press machine, and the load caused their toes to come closer to their shin, therefore stretching the calf and the Achilles tendon of their left or non-dominant leg. This was the result. And if you're asking if that left calf is bigger than the right, you bet it is. But how do we know that the stretch caused the change? Well, we had electrodes on the leg, and that monitored the muscle activity. See, for this to be considered a stretch and not a contraction, that activity had to be 0. So you're sitting there and you're thinking to yourself, so if this worked, how well did it work? Well, the average growth was 8%, and you can see that as the blue line on the graph behind me. So we made them grow, and we made them grow a lot. So now you're thinking, well, gosh, Carrie, this sounds great. I'm gonna go get me a leg press and sit on my couch and eat some ice cream and stretch, and I'm gonna get as jacked as Arnold. Well, no, it's not quite that easy, and there was a drawback. The force that the muscle could produce over that time period went down, and that's the red line on the graph. So we made the muscles bigger, but we didn't necessarily make them stronger. We probably compromised the position that they were in to produce the force into a less than optimal. So what does this mean? This means that after a bit more research, we might have to make our definition of strength training a little more flexible and include stretching. Thank you.
Carrie, please come up to the stage to be recognized. The top prize is $1,000 and a certificate. So congratulations to this year's 3MT competitors and to all our finalists, including runner-up prize winner and People's Choice Award winner, Stephanie Schindler, a Master of Science student in biology whose supervisor is Dr. Andis Kligeris. I would like to call upon Dr. Gord Binstead, Acting Vice Principal Research and Innovation and the Dean of the Faculty of Health and Social Development, to announce our Student Researchers of the Year.
Thank you, Miriam. You know, it's my job at this university to spend my days looking at the amazing things our researchers do. And talking to the research office, and the research office talking about the amazing grants, publications, contributions that are coming out, new patents, new discoveries, all these fantastic things that universities do. Today I get the opportunity to actually give awards out for our top student researchers. And so these are our best and our brightest researchers working in all those labs, working in all those out in the field, trying to find the next biggest and brightest thing. So congratulations to everybody this year for your innovative work, wonderful collaborations that we've seen at UBC, in our community, and across the world. It's really been a great year. You make us all very, very, very proud. This afternoon, we honor 3 extraordinary student researchers, 2 undergraduate, 1 graduate. I'd like to ask Dr. Cynthia Matheson and Dr. Deborah Buzzard up here to assist me with the presentations, please. So as some of you will recall, last year we introduced these 2 new awards. It seemed like a good thing to do, given that, honestly, coming from a lab environment, the students do all the work anyway. So last year we introduced these awards, and this year I'll begin with the Undergraduate Research Award. And actually we were struck with a very difficult situation in that we actually had a tie. So this year we have 2 winners who will each receive a $1,000 prize. and their names will be put on the master plaque commemorating the award recipients. The first recipient of the Undergraduate Student Researcher of the Year Award is from the Irving K. Barber School of Arts and Science Chemistry Program. Congratulations to Jeff Kirkovius. So, over the last nearly 4 years, and it's funny, I read these notes beforehand, and you'll realize why I pause later in reading his biography. Over the last 4 years, Jeff's enthusiasm for chemistry and his keen interest in chemistry has really impressed his professors. His dedication to any chemistry-related topic has set him aside, apart from all the typical chemistry majors. While a passion for chemistry is one thing, Jeff's interest specifically in research sets him aside from his peers. Jeff loves experimental science so much that he built himself a home laboratory. Now here we're not talking about your basic chemistry set. We're talking about a facility with a fume hood, a distillation system, nitrogen tanks, the full kit. Now, hopefully not for illicit purposes, I hope. Jeff merely wanted to introduce himself and test all those great discoveries he'd read about at home, and confirm that, in fact, the minds that had come before him actually were as smart as they thought they were. So, in addition to his excellence as a researcher and doing work far beyond that expected of an undergraduate chemistry student, I must say Jeff has also been a chemistry tutor, has helped his department as a teaching assistant, served as a supplemental learning student leader, mentor, program leader, and he is president of the organizing committee hosting the 29th annual Western Canadian Undergraduate Chemistry Conference to be hosted right here in the Okanagan. So truly an exceptional student. Now we're going to see a video about the fantastic things that Jeff has done, and then I'll ask him to the stage.
Jeff is a very special student. He's the kind of student that we see maybe once in a decade. He has so much passion for organic chemistry. He's willing to work and learn and always push himself and then do research to a level that we don't see often.
I'm currently working on a molecule to better understand what role calcium channels play in heart and neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's.
Jeff's research project is a very ambitious one. So his goal is to design this molecule that labels proteins. And this is a project that I would normally give to a graduate student, to a PhD student. But with his level of experience and enthusiasm, I thought he could rise to the challenge.
I have always been interested in chemistry. Ever since I was in elementary school and I asked my grandparents for several pounds of baking soda and vinegar for one Christmas, up until in high school when after school was over, my chemistry teacher would let me perform experiments in the back room, and I would just have such a blast doing that. Eventually, after I graduated high school, I set up a lab in my garage because in first year there's no opportunities for undergraduate research at the university until you're in your upper years. So I started doing experiments in my garage until the summer of second year when I got hired to do work in a lab here and volunteered in another lab at the same time. And that's the summer when I met Fred.
Jeff is a very enthusiastic student. Maybe 3 times a day he's going to jump into my office and ask me about this crazy idea that he had, or maybe in a different direction we should take the project in.
UBCO has a phenomenal program for undergraduate research, and I feel very honored to be recognized as that student this year. And I think that this award is also a great opportunity to help undergraduates pursue research.
So Jeff, if I could please ask you to come forward to receive your award.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Jeff. And as I say, this year we actually have 2 award winners. So our second recipient of the Undergraduate Student Researcher of the Award this year is also from the Irving K. Barber School of Arts and Science, in this case, a student in the biology program. Please join me in congratulating Nishat Tasnim. So Nishat started her research career as a first-year biology student volunteering in the lab of Professor Deanna Gibson. Nishat became an official lab member, taking on work study placements, eventually working with a postdoctoral fellow, learning advanced techniques such as how to prepare DNA samples for next-generation sequencing. She received an undergraduate research award last year, and under the supervision of Professor Gibson and Miranda Hart, studied the role of environmental bacteria on colonization and overall microbial ecology of the mammalian gut. That is also the focus of her honors thesis. Nishat has contributed to 4 manuscripts in top-ranked journals while she's an undergrad. We also have a video of Nishat.
Nishat is a very special individual, and that sounds kind of cliche, but it's true. She came to me in her 2nd year, so she was very junior, and I was really skeptical to take her into my lab as a volunteer. But as she started to work in my lab, it was very clear that she was unique in that she was quite mature, was extremely technically proficient in the lab, and just had all of the right qualities that we look for in a researcher.
The story for me starts earlier on in my 1st year, and the mentorship that I've been able to receive at this campus from the faculty members that are available. I was recommended to work in Deanna's lab as a volunteer in my 2nd year, and that opportunity led me to work with her grad students, get an introduction into the world of research. It's an enterprise, and there's so many different things that go on inside the laboratory environment, and just to be able to experience that was great. And so I started working, and we thought that the next step would be to apply for the undergraduate research award. And so that's when I met Miranda. Deanna and Miranda had known each other and had thought about this project to do with gut microbes and environmental microbes, and how those two worlds collide in the early stages of our gut development.
We knew we needed a good student for that. It wasn't an easy project because you had to do animal stuff, you had to do environmental stuff, and it's a big project. And she had recently met Nishat and thought that she had potential to be that student.
It's incredible how much experience you get inside the laboratory environment, and for an undergrad, you don't really get that insight until you actually have an opportunity to enter the lab. The way I like to think about it is you're entering a think tank, and there are experts around you who are working on various aspects of one problem. To be able to participate in that think tank and to be able to learn the techniques and learn how to ask the questions and to study the field from literature on to lab work is a great experience that contributes to learning more than just having classroom exposure. It is such an honor to be recognized in this way, and to me it's doubly honorable because I was nominated by women that I admire and I inspire to be like them in the future. And for me to be able to enter into a nomination body that has excellent students who are doing amazing work on this campus is an incredible honor. So it's humbling, it's honoring, and it gives you that boost to move forwards and to do better.
So Nishat, can you please come forward to receive your award? Please join me in congratulating Nishat one more time. So the award for excellence in research and/or creative and scholarly activity at the graduate level brings along with it a cash prize of $1,500 and goes to a PhD candidate in psychology this year. Please join me in congratulating Alicia Baker, our Graduate Student Researcher of the Year. Alicia has a remarkable record of productivity and expertise in a number of areas related to forensic psychology. She has authored 7 manuscripts accepted for publications, many in major psychology journals, including Evolution and Human Behavior, Cognition and Emotion, Personality and Individual Differences. For those of you counting, that is an enormous number. She's co-author on 5 other manuscripts currently under review or in preparation, and at last count has 6 additional research projects underway. The professors who nominated Alicia for this award noted that her focus and determination allowed her to complete her 2-year master's degree of arts in 1 year, despite the demanding course requirements. She leads by example and has had a significant impact on both current and future students by setting an extraordinarily high level of research quality and productivity. Her doctoral thesis examines the novel area of remorse, a subject that will surely have major implications for the legal system. So now let's look at a video about Alicia's work.
What sets Alicia apart is her dedication to research and her drive to get it right. She's developed a very sophisticated understanding of the nature of forensic psychology and has applied it in a way that is particularly valuable because she's interested in what it means in the real world.
I'm Alicia Baker, and I'm a second-year doctoral student in the psychology department, specifically in the Center for the Advancement of Psychological Science and Law. What I'm studying for my doctoral dissertation is remorse. So it's a construct that's referenced throughout society, specifically the criminal justice system, and it's heavily relied upon in legal decision-making, but we know relatively little about it. Offenders in the criminal justice system are very much motivated to feign remorse in order to get more lenient sentences. And so we really need to be better at differentiating genuine and false remorse.
She's been incredibly productive in terms of her research, taking a wide range of areas. She's only into her second year of her doctoral work. She has 7 publications, and in addition to that, she has other articles in submission. And beyond that, and this is the part that I found particularly impressive, when she came into the graduate program, she has 6 more studies that are currently under her control and under her design. It's going to mean some very significant changes if what we expect happens. She'll be able to identify variables that are going to be essential to help people in the criminal justice system do their job better.
I feel very fortunate to be recognized as the Graduate Student Researcher of the Year. It's a very prestigious award, and I am very appreciative to have been the recipient of this year's.
Alicia, can you please come forward? So once again, congratulations, Alicia. So that ends my part in this afternoon's festivities, and now allow me now to invite Dr. Cynthia Matheson, Provost and Vice Principal Academic, to the podium for our next award presentation.
Thank you, Gord. This is the best part of my job, although I have to say after the 3MT, I'm thinking about my calves now. So we'll talk later. All right. This is 10 years, our 10th annual Celebrate Research Week, shining a spotlight on the outstanding research taking place at UBC. Congratulations to those individuals selected for special recognition today, and of course, congratulations to every researcher on the shared achievements we are celebrating this week. It's really an honor for me to announce this year's recipient of the Award for Excellence in Research and/or Creative Scholarly Activity, our Researcher of the Year. This is presented each year to a faculty member who has made a significant contribution to research during the time of their appointment at the university. And of course, as you all know, the lead-up time to this award starts very early, much before the first academic appointment, with researchers' tenacity, ideas, hunches, instincts, and maybe even some missteps. I put in the missteps because I know the engineers don't think they make missteps, but as we know from the Nobel Prize winning speech last year at our convocation, missteps are sometimes important for those important breakthroughs. So, the award consists of a $5,000 cash prize and recognizes a distinguished record of research, development of an interdisciplinary approach to research, support and guidance for students in research, and a significant contribution to a research community or to an agency. This year, we are pleased to honor Associate Professor of Engineering, Dr. Abbas Milani. Now, I need to stick to the script so I don't miss one amazing thing. Dr. Milani has established a strong record in both basic and applied research over the past decade in advanced composite materials in science and engineering. He joined the School of Engineering here in 2007 after completing his postdoctoral studies at Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT. Since then, he has been a rising star in our engineering program. Just a few highlights of his work include a collaboration between UBC and Bombardier, which developed a breakthrough structural health monitoring system for use in aircraft, an industrial research project funded by NSERC and the National Research Council, working with AS Composite Incorporated in Quebec to test, simulate, and model a patented roll-forming process to reduce defects in thermoplastic composite products. I feel much smarter just saying that sentence. That project led directly to the development of a fully composite guardrail for use on Canadian highways. Now you know why you are safe. Since joining UBC, Dr. Milani has attracted many individual and collaborative research grants, totaling more than $12 million. His research has been published in more than 150 peer-reviewed journals, conference proceedings, books and chapters, and technical reports. He is the Advanced Materials and Fabrication Theme Leader for the Survive and Thrive Applied Research Facility here, and since 2012, he has served as the director of the Pan-Western Composites Research Network's Okanagan node. This network assists Canadian composites manufacturers in developing the skills and expertise to compete for new opportunities in the rapidly expanding global composites market. The Composites Research Network is one of the first of its kind in the world to transfer fundamental knowledge at universities to a series of knowledge and practice documents that can be used as new standards for the entire composites manufacturing sector. Collaboration and interdisciplinarity are hallmarks of Dr. Milani's research, and his knowledge, energy, generosity, and exceptional productivity have made him one of the leading experts in the field. Let's go to the video story to learn more.
Composite materials are basically a combination of 2 or 3 materials or even more that when combined with each other, it will give you properties that are better than individual materials. And nowadays you can think of fiberglass, carbon fibers. We can find it in our home appliances, in our skis, the other sporting goods, in our automobiles, in the aerospace components, marine and so on. These materials have found a lot of interest by industries, but there are still several questions to be answered as far as how this material behave under different loading conditions, how we should manufacture them so that we don't have problems. My research focus actually is in twofold. One is the composite materials. I'm working on modeling, simulation, and optimization of composite materials. And my secondary field of research is on the multi-criteria optimization and decision-making for complex engineering systems. I'm Abbas Milani, a faculty member at the School of Engineering, UBC Okanagan. Our composites lab at the Okanagan campus of UBC is part of the Composites Research Network, or CRN. This network was established in 2012 by the Government of Canada in order to help the manufacturers to go towards more effective and risk-free design and manufacturing of the composites. When engineers do design, normally requirements of the final product is not a single basically objective. For example, a product we make like this, say in the bridge deck slabs, we want to be mechanically durable, but at the same time we want to make sure it's not degrading over environmental conditions, so we have multiple objectives to meet. The main excitement about composites is if I want to compare it to other materials like the metals or cements, there are a combination of the materials there, so as much as it allows you to customize your design. You may say, I want the properties in a particular direction or in a particular environmental condition to perform this way, so you can basically customize that from the beginning by choice of the correct components of composites. But the challenge, I think, which I think for me is the interesting part as a researcher, is that then how you want to process those materials that in the beginning you choose, so that as your composite parts, say something like this, is formed, the properties that you had in mind is met at the end. So this, I think, state of complexity, research-wise, is a challenge and excitement for me. And for a manufacturer, it still is a big question mark and dilemma. And here at UBC Okanagan, we are really delightful that we can work with industry members. Over 50 companies almost, we are collaborating to solve this type of problems for them.
Congratulations, Dr. Milani. Come forward to receive your award. Don't go yet. Now, it is our tradition to invite our Researcher of the Year to say a few words, so I will turn the microphone over to Dr. Milani. Congratulations.
Thank you. First, I would like to start with congratulating all my fellow nominees for being such great researchers on this great campus. I'm truly humbled and honored to be in the same pool with them. And of course, I would also like to thank the selection committee for recognizing my file this year. And this wouldn't be possible without the support I received throughout the nomination process from all those, the School of Engineering and outside. In particular, I would like to thank Dr. Caroline Laboon, Dr. Rihan Sadiq, and Spiro Anakopoulos for being my nominators. The other day when I was thinking back about my research journey, I remember well a quote that I came across during the early years of my PhD studies, I believe, by Stephen Hawking, saying that the whole basically history of science have been the gradual realization of the fact that things around us are not in a random order. I guess this piece of advice always stayed with me up to this very day, in the sense that always I paid attention to things that do not work in the research, next to those that do work. And I believe I couldn't have done this without having also great students from the past and my current research works who believed in the same philosophy, always put that question mark in that outlier point to make sure why things do not work. Because I believe that something helped me to have a seamless transition between my projects from one to another. So I would like first really to thank all my graduate students. I know some of them are here today, that you are the real champions of these projects, and you have been really truly a friend and colleague to me, and I do learn from each of you in every single meeting that we have. So thank you for all your works and passion for research. Of course, us as faculty members couldn't take forward our research programs without also the great support of administrators and different units of our campus and great staff. So I would like to recognize all the direct and indirect research supports that I have had from the Office of DVC, Office of Provost, Office of Research Services, College of Graduate Studies, Office of Dean, among others, including UBC Media Services for making such great videos. At the School of Engineering, really I should thank each and every one of my colleagues and friends and the great staff that we have. I really feel words are short to thank them enough, but I just want to say that every single morning that I step into this great school, I feel I'm part of a family. And their encouragement and really friendship means a lot to me, and I really offer a big part of this award to their friendship throughout these years and sharing their expertise with me. In particular, I would like to also recognize the great directorship and management of school by Dr. Rihan Sadiq and Dr. Spiro Anakopoulos. I believe many of us at the school strongly believe if it wasn't because of especially Spiro's passion and basically tireless effort and unique management skills from day one, we wouldn't be standing where we are today. So thank you, Spiro, for all your leadership and all your mentorship to all of us, including me, throughout these years. Outside the school, again, I have so many people to thank all the way back from my former supervisors and my current colleagues at the both UBC, Okanagan, and Vancouver campus, so I'm grateful to all of them. In particular, I would like to recognize a few colleagues from UBC Composite Group at Vancouver who have been the pioneers of this field over, I believe, over 30 years. They welcomed me from day one. They shared their world-class expertise in applied research with me, and they really taught me how to always think about the big picture, how to solve the industry problem today by having a meaningful impact. So I would like to thank Dr. Anushpur Sartib, who is the Director of CRN and a Professor of Materials Engineering, Dr. Reza Waziri from Civil Engineering, and Drs. Frank Ko and Yoran Fernan for all their support throughout these years. Last but not least, I should thank all my family members and friends, and especially my parents, for their unconditional love and support. I know they couldn't be here today, but I'm sure they will be really happy when I share the news with them. I haven't yet. And last, I would like to thank my lovely wife, Sepide, for putting up with all those late hours of mine for work, and who has been not only a great friend and colleague to me, but also, I believe, an example of caring researcher and source of inspiration. And I couldn't have this award for sure without your support. So with that, I'd like to thank everyone again for coming, sharing these moments with me, and I'm glad to be part of this great campus. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Milani, and congratulations. Very well deserved. And that is the conclusion of our program for today. I want to ask the award recipients to please remain, as well as the presenters, to remain for photos here for a few moments. For the rest of us, we get to enjoy a reception at the far end of the room. So please enjoy the afternoon. Thank you very much for being here.